Episode 524 of the TV Dudes, recorded January 31st, 2025. The Way Home. This week, we check out a show chosen by John Paul Vitale as a Patreon showrunner pick.
JPV.
It is The Way Home over on Peacock. It's got Andy McDowell. It's got Alex from Showgirls. It's got Alex from Supergirl, and it's got time travel.
Yes, that's right. John Paul chose 4 episodes of this show about a time-traveling family and their sinkhole into the past. Not time hole.
Sinkhole. We watched Season 1, Episode 1, Season 1, Episode 4, Season 1, Episode 5.
And then the pond took us to Season 2, Episode 8 for some reason.
It's because that pond is a dick.
Oh my god, yeah, right? I mean, between you and me, it's kind of uppity for a body of water that doesn't have enough sunlight penetration to be even considered a lake.
Like seriously, they keep calling it sink. Maybe if they just stop calling it sinkhole. Anyway, we'll get into it.
Don't fucking come at me, you fucking uniform temperatured body piece of shit. I looked up a lot about ponds for the podcast.
Why do you know this much about sinkholes?
To make this bit work,
To make this bit work.
Because I'm committed.
This is the kind of dedication that you get here at the TV Dudes.
Yeah, but we ended up watching, shocker, like all these other fucking Patreons, we always end up watching more than we need to by accident or on purpose.
Yes, by hook or by crook.
But was it on accident this time or on purpose? Stick around to find out.
And before we discuss all that, I'm Les.
And I'm Nick.
And we're the TV Dudes. And you know a bunch of time travel and shenanigans isn't all we watched.
Oh, no, but given Les's... if it was up to Les's better devices, we would
Absolutely
only be watching that.
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
So I watched a movie about a different timeline. No, it was a mirror universe. Yeah, I just want to talk about.
That's right.
I just want to talk about
Section 31.
About
Section 31.
I didn't know how to transition into it.
I mean,
I spent too long looking up pond facts.
Transition into it like any other Star Trek. Just don't. Just slam forward into it.
Section 31 isn't a good movie, but it is pretty fascinating.
So it's Michelle Yeoh and Sam
Richardson's in it. He's not a main, like,
but he was still surprised me he was in it.
And you know, it's a whole cast. It's like a crew of Section 31 ne'er-do-wells that are, trying to accomplish a mission. It's a thing from her past, obviously, and that they were doing, and like why we're recruiting her again. And man, there's a lot of really weird and just incorrect decisions, in my opinion, going on in it. On one level, too, it is weirdly silly. Oddly silly. There's a Vulcan that's not a Vulcan that like just laughs all the time, which is weird, but also it's a nano stop race or whatever that is piloting a Vulcan body, and they can only regulate a spectrum of emotions that, and it's like, cool, and it picked a fucking Vulcan body, like,
right,
to like, well, it got on the black market and like, and it can't leave this body, or
right, it can't run a Klingon or something.
Only for his wife to come up with the exact same model of like, wait, why do these things keep using the Vulcan models? They make the least sense.
It's funny.
Don't get me wrong, I think a Klingon crying would also probably freak people out, but
at least like, or I don't know, there's got to be somewhere in Star Trek. There's somebody that's the polar opposite. That's just like, some Trekkie tell us like, who's the Star Trek race that's just all emotions. I know there's got to be one. Betazoids.
Betazoids are kind of like that, or at least they're the ones that are like
the crazy empaths, right? Donna Troy.
You know,
which one's Wonder Woman and which one's on Star Trek?
Which one's Wonder Woman and which one's on Star? I don't know.
Donna Troy. Who's Troy?
Oh, Donna. Donna Troy is Wonder Girl. You're thinking of Deanna Troy, who is on Star Trek. Is on TNG.
She's only half Betazoid.
Yeah. Yeah. I realized how, like, almost all the way through it, I was like, Sam Richardson plays a shapeshifter that doesn't fucking shapeshift.
Well, I mean, like we said about Wolfman, or rather, like Martin said about Wolfman.
And no one.
Everybody wants to have a shapeshifter character. Nobody wants to spend
But they said
shapeshifter
that
money.
he does shapeshift into a cloud of your favorite weird goo thing. Or whatever.
Yeah, but we figured out how to do like dust particulate.
Like, because that's how he transforms in between stuff. But it's a mole hunt spy thing, and he's not even I mean, technically they're all suspects, but like, okay, so we're not going to use his ability to ferret out the mole of like him pretending to be another person. The only time he does it is when they're explaining the first plan that they actually don't do. They're explaining to Michelle Yeoh if you hadn't figured us out, we were gonna do this, and Sam Richardson was gonna turn into you.
And they don't have like the goofy, hey, look at that Vulcan not be able to pretend to be Vulcan. They don't have that payoff as the serious later, hey, look at Sam Richardson not be able to pretend to be other people.
Yeah.
Because like I would think that'd be the goofy way in Act 1 to teach our characters how to do the serious thing in Act 3. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, it's a weird...
Especially in a movie that's entirely, I would think, about are you who you pretend to be because she's a mirror universe evil person, and are you good now because you're pretending to be...
I mean, what's weird is that the Section 31 movie was not the thing I thought was like going to be particularly like... Out of all the silliest Star Trek properties, I did not think that was...
Outside of Lower Deck, Star Trek is inadvertently goofy,
right?
But never purposely, or rarely, I feel, purposely silly.
Yeah. Like,
that's not to say it hasn't come off silly. Like, there's the game episode in Next Gen and all that shit. Like, it's,
right. It's more that they get away with that by being earnest, which is the thing Section 31 is not really trying to do.
Right.
Like, they're all fuck-ups and kind of pieces of shit. Like,
I still like my idea that like, it would be great to have Michelle Yeoh as a mirror universe actual criminal.
And all of Section 31 are still like what Starfleet considers criminals, which are
like people who are just like nerds about heists.
Sorry, you only stamped your form for request twice instead of 3 times.
Or just
it was
all
a
the people
mistake.
who just,
I was young.
Like the kind of people who just keep naming that, like, oh, I hope when we do the mission that I get to see a San Francisco switchback, or a Nashville hot con, or like just naming like dumb, like I want to see an Alabama suitcase drop, and like,
what the fuck is he even talking about? But yeah, I would actually highly recommend you watch Section 31 as a writer's exercise. It's actually kind of like...
You said, like, man, it's not good, but it's a series of insane decisions.
I don't even know, like, there's a Starfleet officer with them that is, like, supposed to monitor them so they don't go too far gone. And I'm like, no, that's not what Section 31 is. They're supposed to not have any oversight. Like, am I misunderstanding what that fucking...
division
is? But don't worry, she's secretly a chaos goblin and loves the chaos. Chaos, where she just starts chanting it by the end.
That hurts my brain. Chaos goblin.
But yeah, Suicide Squad in the Star Trek universe does not fucking jive, I don't think. Speaking of Suicide Squad, though, we did watch the next episode of Harley Quinn, or I did.
You did.
And just recommended you, like, yeah, it's half good, with the Floronic Man payoff. Poison Ivy not quite being honest with Harley Quinn, like their relationship stuff, like, oh yeah, that's always pretty solid. That they've had that down since the start of this. Clayface finally comes back, and it was definitely like, oh, I guess be careful what you wish for, because
he was in the thumbnail, and when I was like, hey, let me know if that's worth watching. It sounds like they might be worth letting pile up to watch. Maybe
if
they work better that way.
They run Clayface and Bane in the same story arc, and they never the twain shall meet, as they are completely separate from. They don't have anything to do with. At least Shark has them babysitting his kids or something.
Right.
Like he's
like,
just,
I don't get Ron Funches, but I do get Baby Shark. Do.
So, like, the two most annoying characters, Clayface and Bane, are like just it's the Nora Freeze and Bane episode all over again. At least not a full episode. So at least there's that. I don't know. I think maybe, yeah, I'll probably still keep watching it week to week because I'm just fascinated by it, but it might be better to let them pile up and try and win me over in a longer Stockholm Syndrome type of way. I watched Red Eye uh,
Oh yeah,
because I had watched, what was it?
we watched.
Don't Blink Twice,
Yeah, Blink Twice.
or Blink Twice, and American Primeval before, and like, so I was
When
so,
you pointed out that we were talking about Carry On, and you were like,
Carry On.
you were
I
like,
was
Red
like-
Eye is just Carry On, but if you make it through security and get on the plane.
yeah. No, I was like, because rewatching it, I was like, I remember liking Carry On. I'm like, oh yeah, I like this premise, and like, why do I like this premise? Oh, it's because they fucking did it. Or yeah, Red Eye is basically Carry On in the plane instead, like for a way cheaper budget. And Cillian Murphy's so not a person. Like they can just keep him in the foreground.
Yeah, he's
and,
not
like,
a star yet.
He's not a star yet, so they can just keep him in the foreground and no
Yeah.
fucking thing about it. And yeah, it's a pretty good movie up until like the very like going into the third act. It has to reveal that Rachel McAdams was raped at some point, and that's why she's never going to let anyone have any control over her again. Which is why she's going to fight back against this guy and get her third act win back by remember. So like her third act win is right off the heels of her like showing the audience that like, oh yeah, I fucking put a knife to my throat and like.
Is that what you were watching at like 7 a.m.?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
And we had that realization in like 7 in the goddamn
I'm
morning.
making coffee.
7 in the fucking morning,
and you were you brought that up that like. God damn it! Here's another movie where the female heroine has like a sexual assault that that like imbues her somehow with the strength. It's just so gross, and it's such a shitty, stupid, terrible trope.
I made the observation that like I'm surprised it doesn't happen with male characters at all. Like male characters don't have a second win because they remembered a horrific sexual assault.
I'm like no, like women get. And then, like I turned around, like pouring water to the coffee pot, like bleary eyed, like no, Nick.
No.
Women get strength raped into them, and men get weakness raped into them.
Like looked at you half awake.
You were like, that's the darkest thing you've ever
God,
said.
goddamn, dude, drink some coffee. This is fucking hardcore.
Like,
at
I
7
do not
o'clock.
ascribe to this belief. I'm saying movies use this trope.
No, I just sat there in that for a minute and realized how true that was.
It's a cosmic truth, the way that like if you throw up in the morning on television, you are pregnant.
Yeah. No, I really sat at it like, whoa, never realized that before, but is very
It's so
depressing
gross.
and
It's so
dark.
gross. It's
Like-
so fucked up.
Never thought of it of the opposite gender of like always like, okay, yeah, that whole rape thing with a strong, independent fucking female character or whatever.
Homophobia is
Oh,
real
whoa.
strong. Like it's like in so many, like way too many stories, you can absolutely tell that like male authors consider that to be the worst thing that can happen to a male character.
Yeah.
But not the worst thing that could happen to a female character.
Right. No, that's like it was a rough realization, and that was basically the start of your day on a fucking Friday. Like,
I didn't even clock what movie
Hard-
you were watching. Like I was just like, oh, I've got this Jeopardy answer.
Yeah.
What is?
Yo, but speaking of a man too weak because he was raped in prison, we watched The Now.
Oh my god, this conversation's awful. Yes,
Because I was realizing like, oh, what's an example of like,
dude. Because I hate that trope that like you in no show in anything can any two men ever no cop ever brings up prison to a man without
ever
the
mentioning
like
yeah.
and like the implied if the implied only real crime in America is never disrespect a cop, the implied only real punishment for men on any television show is forced gayness.
Yeah.
And should tell everybody, oh god, I'm fucking cynical and bitter this week.
Yikes.
Jesus Christ. But I get
Do you
so
need
tired
some
of
more
it.
coffee?
Like I get so tired of hearing it brought up every time of like, it doesn't matter how good the show is or how family, like
Right.
some cop will make a wink and nod about like, and don't drop the soap, buddy. Mm-hmm. Anyway. So yeah, The Now.
We actually like The Now. The Now is pretty good.
The Now is actually fantastic.
Don't hold that against it.
I don't like Eckhart Tolle. I read that in book club, and I really didn't care for that book. That dude writes in circles.
Yeah.
But if it spoke to you, great. People need to hear different things. This show both doesn't really make fun. I mean, like it makes fun of it, but also it really does seem to like put or help shift Dave Franco's character a little bit from his stuck.
Only gets one note from his brother incarcerated every day. Like, hey, bro, got raped again today. Thanks. Hey, bro,
Every
got raped again today. Thanks.
Every day until the last one.
The last one's different. Okay, but you see why that's
you
not
see why
on.
I stopped reading these.
See
right?
why that's not on me for snot.
right. After a year,
like we didn't.
You see why I quit reading these, right? So that show was one of the now is on Roku because it was in production when Quibi imploded.
Sure.
And so Roku finished out the season they were in the middle of making. It's not going to get any more like anything else, most of the other things from that. But it's Dave Franco, O'Shea Jackson, and Jimmy Tatro.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Tatro was just in like theater camp, and
he was the younger version of the
Kirshner and fucking The Machine.
The Machine. That's like what am I thinking? I'm thinking of Cocaine Bear.
Cocaine Bear.
Because I was like watching that and this because like if you want to watch O'Shea Jackson in the thing and you've
Bear
already
and
watched
Cocaine
Den of
Machine.
Thieves, you're kind of shit out of luck.
Right.
Because he's really funny in this.
That's how I found it. I was literally, we'd finished watching Den of Thieves 2, and I was trying to find something else that O'Shea Jackson was in, and I didn't want to just rewatch Cocaine Bear.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, well, what's the now? And I flipped it on. So the first 10-minute episode has only Dave Franco, basically. No, I'm sorry. It also has Pete Davidson.
And a fucking pizza delivery guy.
That's right.
That is honestly he's haggling over. It's a pretty good like.
That's also where we see that Franco can do all the math in his head.
Yeah. Well, I like the like. Here, I have a coupon. Ooh, we actually can't accept those only when you do them on the thing. Cool. I'll just take it out of your tip. Actually, I'll accept the coupon.
Wow.
Good.
Yeah.
Attaboy. Which is funny because he's haggling over 20% in the midst of trying to kill himself.
Right. Yeah, so the whole first 10 minutes...
He needed a break in between because he's having a hard time tying the knot.
Right.
So he needed a pizza break.
Right, he's watching him cuss out YouTube videos of like, what did you do there? Quit turning your hand over. What? No, man, fuck.
Slow down.
Like, man, it should have been in Scouts. Like, you wouldn't... I mean, yes, you could have learned how to tie a noose in Scouts, but it's not something taught in the meetings.
No.
But yeah, him trying to do it's dark as fuck and funny. Him trying to not explain what he needs the rope for.
It ends up being too small, so he needs to go get Pete Davidson like to get a rope and like, okay, I need to tow a thing. Like, okay, what are you towing?
Yeah, Davidson works at the hardware store. Like, what kind of rope you need? Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're gonna need this, and it's like this huge thing. It's a little too thick.
It's too itchy.
That one's too scratchy. What? Like
for the
scratchy
boat?
For the boat? Oh, okay. I see what you got here. This one's gonna do you all right.
Yeah, you're gonna soak this in water and freeze it. You know.
A what?
Like, it gets so great.
Come on, man. There you go.
But as the show goes on, like it really uses the 10-minute format well. I binged through the whole thing in like one go because each episode reveals some next holy shit train wreck turn. Like he doesn't kill himself at the end of the first episode because he gets interrupted
by his call from his mom.
call from his mom that his brother's just killed himself.
Your brother just hung himself. God damn it.
Yep. So then up 2, he's explaining to his therapist, Bill Murray, that, well, now my brother's beating me to it and I can't.
So you think it would be passe if you did it since your brother has already
No, it
done.
would kill my
mom.
mom.
It would kill my mom. Man, Bill Murray's not a good therapist.
Oh, he's terrible.
He's not good.
And the show's funny as fuck. I really enjoyed tearing through it. The ending, I don't.
It obviously didn't realize it was going to end there. Like they need to resolve. I'm like, man, you need to resolve the. Which is funny. They had a resolution there of the loan shark that's given him grief the whole season, who is also a great character. Who's that actor? That
I don't
plays
know,
him?
man. I looked him up and I didn't know him
But
from
he's
stuff.
man, he's a very funny. He's a weird dude.
Yes,
that is a loan shark.
His energy's so great and weird.
But they have a whole thing where they to save his life and only to get an extension on their things and not wiped. And I was like, oh man, you had a minute there.
Well, and I like that they use it for a joke. They give Jimmy Tatro's character some shit about like, how did you not negotiate for that? Well, I didn't really have leverage. Yeah, you did.
No, I mean, you don't understand the definition of leverage.
Dying, dude.
But that's the main message of the thing there, because that's the last.
But they didn't. It's the Farrelly brothers that wrote this, and they just it doesn't. I wish they'd brought that home to Dave Franco.
Right.
But overall, I really enjoy this, and again, O'Shea Jackson's just fucking gold on screen every time.
You cannot ask how his brother killed himself. Why not, man?
It's
like bad
suicide.
suicide etiquette. You just can't do it.
Are you on your phone at this funeral? No, man, I've got it like down in my hands, and I'm looking down, and I'm solemn, like nobody
I'm
knows.
solemn,
Dude.
like nobody's like I'm rocking this
You got
shit.
to the count of 3, or that phone goes in the grave. All right, man, fuck. Yeah, it's just basically different ways for O'Shea Jackson to ask Jimmy Tatro, what the fuck is wrong with you?
What is wrong?
I enjoyed the shit out of the Now. I was glad you also did. I finished watching the first episode and was like, this is so dark. I don't know that everybody will find this funny at all, but I bet Nick will.
But it's always that thing of like you don't want it to be funny because like in order to be that funny it has to be relatable.
Right.
And I'm like, man, that's a bummer. Now that you have to like pull up your knees to try and keep the pressure on your neck so you can hang himself.
passes out on his feet.
Yeah. Now I feel you, bad. That sucks.
Oh man.
Honestly, that's why my plan never involved hanging. What? Oh, spoke
What?
too much.
Nope.
Never mind.
I said too much.
Although, like, seriously, rookie move. Like, you didn't put enough thought into this. Which is good.
When he's there's so much to it. And every episode's got some shit like that. I really, folks go, it's free on Roku. It's weird, the amount of ads that end up in a 10-minute show, but...
I don't know, man. I just thought it was messed up that I didn't get my own separate suicide note. What? I didn't, like, fucking put a mass email. I just thought he would read this to you. Like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Okay, man.
Yeah,
cool.
whatever.
Just saying. Couldn't just hit print twice? Like, it's not that hard.
I'm seriously jealous over a suicide note right now. I just think it would have been easier to print out 2 copies of it. You know, I just thought, like...
Like, so when he arrives and his friends have found his suicide note, even though he's not killed himself and, like, a couple of days have gone by... but he'd already mailed it because he was going to be dead. He comes home to his door kicked open and Jimmy Tatro peeing in his bathroom. Mm-hmm. And, like, that whole conversation is fucking awkward before O'Shea Jackson, like, lays into him about it. Yeah, all of everybody's performances on this were just gold. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I watched...
And then you also watched Cocaine Bear.
I watched Cocaine Bear. We watched some military stuff.
Oh, yeah. There's Rogue Heroes back.
The Rogue Heroes back was pretty fun. It, like... Again, I'm sad that, like, it feels like we didn't have to ditch Africa so soon, and now we're running through, like, okay, so is this the last season of Rogue Heroes? Because we're running out of war to, like...
There's been several shows. I mean, we saw it in Arcane, that last episode of fucking Winning Time. Like, there's so many things lately where you start to realize, like, wait, have we changed format slightly, and is this, like, a clip show? Because now Rogue Heroes seems to have a 5-minute scene or 10-minute scene of real emotional impact because they got good actors and I like these characters, and then a bunch of little, like, 2-second cuts one after another that clip me through several days of fighting.
Yeah.
And then another long scene, and then several days of fight. Whereas in season 1, I felt like we watched them plan these missions, drive out there, lay over the hill, watch it, run in there and do it, and come back.
They'd have to, like, something wouldn't go quite right, and they'd have to adapt, like, you know.
Yeah, now it's.
They went on one with fucking Winston Churchill's kid. Like,
yeah.
So in this one, they don't have a. I mean, they finally just show one in this one where they take that town.
Yeah, finally we saw a little bit of it in the town.
You're right. They're.
We keep time jumping ahead. I thought we were going to do more with the Mafia. We didn't.
No, like, it feels like the Mafia stuff is done, which was weird. I did not get the feeling it was going to be done from that previous episode.
No.
Yeah, on top of that, though, I watched Catch 22.
Yes.
Off of your recommendation, and...
it's a little bit Buffalo Soldiers,
but
Joaquin Phoenix.
I fucked up because I watched it under your account on Hulu, so I watched the last episode first. Which I was like, okay, so this is kind of a bummer and not funny at all. Because at least and then I realized what had happened, and I was like, oh fuck, well, I've spoiled this for myself. Well, I better go back and I watched the first episode and, like, okay, this is more amusing and a fun, like not fun or per se.
You hit on something that I could never put my finger on of what makes Catch 22 one of the bleakest war things I've ever seen, despite also being pretty funny at points. And it's that, so, like, bleak war things, we grew up with bleak war things set in Vietnam.
Yeah.
That's that's an easy fucking sell, man.
Right.
Like, or MASH even, like Bleak War things set in Korea. Like, I don't even know what we're doing here. This isn't even our thing.
Iraq,
Iraq,
Korea,
yeah.
like there's a whole like, what the fuck are
And
we even
we've
doing
always
here?
been able to hold up. Well, World War II, at least we knew what we were fighting. Nazis suck.
Yeah.
And I know, like the more I was thinking about it, it's like, well, what do I know is really at the heart of all, like, absurdist war things, and it's that war's not the actual, like, whatever the ideological problem is, the thing we're doing today on a Tuesday against those farm kids over that hill is so distant from it as to be pointless in any war.
Right.
But that's so, like,
But
even the cynic in me finds it hard to sit that aside when it's Nazis on the other wall.
and it's
That's the darkness at the heart of Catch-22 is that, like, this is pointless even when the cause is just.
yeah, and I guess I just disagree with that. Of
Yeah.
like, because I get that
There's the
His
risk
complaint-
the risk of agreeing with that is too high.
his complaint is that it sucks that they're fucking him over on the missions going up. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's unfair. And he keeps trying to get out of it in more overt ways, to the point where he gets a fucking military intelligence guy captured, and like
Because he just fucking
he
fake
just
moves
moves
a line
the thing
on
on
a
a
map.
map, and I was like, my god. On one level, like, yes, it's dumb that the military is bamboozled by someone
Right.
moving a line on a map and can't check on itself, but also fuck you, dude. Like, you
Right.
And it makes me not sympathize with our main character enough, because, like, look, I get that you didn't sign up for this and that it sucks for everyone
Go
else
AWOL
here.
then.
But like, and he's like, oh, going AWOL is not the answer. I'm like, well, then you are stuck, my man. 'Cause
Right.
guess what? These things have to get done. And he even admits, like, yeah, but it doesn't have to be me doing them. Like,
Then
yeah,
go
but it's
again.
gonna be some fucking guy.
Then go AWOL.
But you get that it's gonna be some fucking
Right,
dude's
right.
gonna be up in this plane doing the thing you're doing.
Right. Like, yeah, when it, one of the ones that I watched kind of over, while you were watching Walking Through the Room, is when his like last surviving buddy gets shot down and he misses bombing the thing.
Yeah.
And like turning around to fix that mistake, and like they need that bridge blown up, but
Mm-hmm.
turning around to do it is suicide
It's truly insane.
for not just you. That'd be one thing.
Right.
It's suicide for and they end up losing somebody else off the plane, right?
Yeah, they lose the new kid. Like,
Yeah.
they lose. No, they lose
Oh,
his
no,
last
they lose
friend.
his, they lose his last friend.
His
That's what it
last
is.
friend. Yeah.
The one that had
just
was,
proposed.
that he was given shit for, like she's a prostitute, dude.
I mean, he started to show off his ring. He was not long for this world. He
Oh
didn't
God,
get-
no!
He
He
didn't
was
get
by
it.
rules of television,
Like-
he was doomed.
But also, you could at one turn that into, maybe he didn't, like, I don't want to come back here tomorrow because we didn't blow up that bridge. Because blowing up, leaving one bridge access to the enemy is basically like not blowing up any bridges.
Right.
If we blew up 3 out of 4 bridges, that doesn't matter.
Right.
They can get across.
Right.
It's we either blow them all up or we might as well not have blown up any of them.
Right.
Like, I gotta
It's
hit.
just slightly slower, but they're gonna get across.
So like, I get that, but it was one of those things of like, I actually understood.
Well, and it's hard to watch right after watching Rogue Heroes, where Patty and the SAS, SRS, whatever they're getting called at this point in the show, they also hate everything about the stupidity of the military brass, and GHQ and all of, like, they hate all of it. Only, they see the righteousness of the, like, no, those guys are genuinely fucking evil.
Mm-hmm.
And so like Patty doesn't want to run dumb missions, but he wants to run missions.
Yeah.
And Yossarian just looks like a fucking whiny bitch.
Well, man, they have that moment where they actually take a German prisoner when they ask him to kill his brother. Mm-hmm. I thought that was a very affecting scene.
Yeah. In Rogue Heroes. Yeah.
In Rogue Heroes. And Catch-22 has I like the idea because it shows whenever his buddies die, there's not less people on the base. They bring in new guys. There's
Right.
like newer kids. And I'm like, cool. So you could replace us.
Right. You just
Because
not.
when we die, there's all of a sudden all these people that couldn't have replaced us before.
like one of the last times he comes in and like he's just hit 50 and they're like, it's just this, like, he should have, it should have worked, but your paperwork was just slow yesterday.
And it's the thing that no one should have. It seems like all the other soldiers have either figured this out or on a instinctual level know this. Dude, it doesn't matter. We're here until the war ends.
Right.
You get that, right? That the numbers don't fucking
like you're just making yourself angry about it by falling for it each time. Like, quit running at the football.
Like all these other guys seem fine with like, dude, we're just here until we're not.
It's either over, like it's either they all die or we die.
Like if you don't get that, I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
Like, the military shouldn't lie to us about it and basically just say straight up, you're here until we say you're not here. If they were like open without it, you wouldn't have like would you be as mad? But I watched the military, like, you know, the waste of in bureaucracy of military excess and intelligence, because we watched Going Dutch, which we absolutely loved. I actually did not expect,
dude. I
did not expect like the Dennis Leary, Danny Pudi military comedy set in fucking Sweden.
Amsterdam, Norway. What the fuck? The Netherlands.
Netherlands, that's what it is. You know, one of the fucking countries where like a military base is basically just an embassy. Not
well, yeah, they go to the Tulip Festival. Like they're a service base. They're not. He's like, this is a terrible military outpost. We are not a military outpost.
No, this is where they send people that can't fight.
Like, it's an R&R base, and they do, you know.
Honestly, it's weird because like, no, your daughter's right about almost everything. You're coming in here like and I don't know if the show really knows that, but I mean, like, no, your daughter's right to treat this like an embassy because that's
what it is.
What it is.
More like an embassy suites.
Like, I want to steal it. Like, we don't have an operating tank. How are we supposed to run practices? Like, you're not fucking supposed to
run practices. Like, so I was unprepared for how funny I found their IT guy that Leary hates. He basically reminds me of Maddie, the fucking other weirdo and everything. I have to look up the actor.
I mean, I was surprised by Danny Pudi. Being
Pudi and Leary have amazing comic timing together.
Amazing chemistry. Wow.
Hal Compston is Corporal Elias. What his character's last name is, but god damn it, he's hilarious. But yeah, I did not expect Danny Pudi and Dennis Leary to have that good of chemistry together. They're so quick and fast off each other's jokes.
What do you do, man? Like, oh, I'm an XO. I see a problem, come in, quickly fix it, then leave and take none of the credit.
Yeah, Pudi's just great as like this guy that also.
How is it feeling my father's being the only one to feel my father's affection? That's not all it's built up. That's a lie, isn't it? Oh no, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
It's because he doesn't give it out. It feels more like a treasure.
It's really precious because he never gives it to anybody. I knew it.
I knew it.
Yeah. The daughter, Taylor Miziak, is also great. Catherine Tate, who I loved on Doctor Who, is a great British comedian, is, I think, going to be Leary's love interest.
Yeah, or at least, you know.
Which is fun, because she takes the piss out of him in an awkward way that it's great to have a character in a show where he's the blowhard that wants to get one over on everybody and, like, be in charge of every situation. She completely disarms him. And I feel like they actually have that chemistry.
Yeah,
which is good.
Well, I like also that Dennis Leary, like we were thinking, like, is this going to be a Dennis Leary '90s rant? Like, is he going to be an old man? And he's kind of is, but not in a. He's open about. It takes him a minute, but he's open about her being running a brothel. Right. It makes him uncomfortable, but he still dates her. Like he still likes her.
He guesses wrong on all his assumptions, but he's trying.
And but he's still like fucking into her.
I feel like the show knows.
Man, he even goes to that fucking dinner,
and the other guy fails.
And he's like, I knew I would win being sensitive.
So I feel like the show and the show creators knew that yes, you're casting Dennis Leary. He's gonna go on a boomer guy rant.
Right.
And like that's his bread and butter. It's his shtick. It's what he's going to do. Mm-hmm. And to do that in a show now and be funny, you got to put him in a place where he's wrong. Like we're patting him on the head and all trying, but like get with the time. You know, like he's slowly getting around to like being good at what they're supposed to do. Whereas I haven't watched Shifting Gears, but I'd lay money down that Tim Allen's new show does not act like Tim Allen's pretty fucking wrong about everything.
Yeah. Poor Kat Dennings.
Whereas I feel like Leary's character is kind
Dennis
of
Leary's rants worked better in the 90s in Demolition Man and
Right,
Small
right, right.
Soldiers, because the biggest problem facing us at that point did feel like political correctness.
Right.
Which was like, it's what Demolition Man's all about.
Right.
Of like, and it's just one, Dennis Leary's the hero, the one guy that'll tell it like it is.
Right, right.
Like, I don't care, like, all of you are too sensitive.
And like in 2024, that's not
And then
our
the
problem
world
anymore.
got so much fucking worse.
Right.
Guys, I don't know what to tell you if you are under fucking 25 out there, how, like, you came into a world, like, the world used to be not this.
No, like so in The Simpsons, there's the scene of like Homer skipping through the fields made of candy, and he like picks up a dog and takes a bite of it and picks up a thing, and it's a sucker. Like it's this Willy Wonka fantasy. That is that was the 90s. I skipped through a field like a cartoon person and took a bite out of a chocolate dog. It was the best.
No, I swear to God, the minute those planes hit those towers, our fucking lives, it was like the Hallmark channel turned into like fucking the slasher channel.
Everything went off the air for 2 weeks, and we came back weird. Yeah, and COVID helped.
Oh God! Damn
So between then and now, yeah, shit's gotten weird, and Dennis Leary, I feel like this show has done a remarkable job of making him still work when he shouldn't. We got done watching the first episode of this, and both of us were like,
Yo, man, I don't want to be the
was-
first to say this, but was that pretty fucking good?
that was like not just like surprisingly cute. Like, was that good? Like, oh yeah, I kind of want to watch the second one right now.
Right now, let's hit
So
it.
yeah, so we watched the next 3.
Yeah, War Games and then Korfball and
We had to look up that Korfball's real.
like I'm like, man, that sounds made up, but I'm pretty sure if we Googled it right now.
Like, sure enough, and the Dutch made it up. Yeah,
And of course, us as Americans with like, oh man, no, well, of course we're gonna win that. Americans will find a sport, suck out all the fun out of it.
Right. What's the narrowest path to a consistent, just ruin it victory?
Right. Like,
Let's do it.
like
Yeah.
Europe are like, I love that Europe is somehow insanely competitive, but also fine with low scoring, like 0-0 games.
Man, when they make fun of it, like, oh no, they've got us there. Yeah, no, football's silly for the 7-point thing.
And so we can just feel more like it's American greed, even in scoring systems.
Right. Like even basketball, which would already have a pretty high scoring thing among other sports, it's 2 points.
It's 2 points. Yeah. Why?
To double it, because we
Does
want
it really matter?
We want to break 100 sometimes.
I don't get it.
Like you play soccer, you ever broke 100? No, Jesus Christ, what?
What? No, that sounds exhausting. Like, I don't think you apply
I got a
any
3-pointer. How far you got to kick it for that? What are you talking about?
No, it's just worth the same. That doesn't. What are you? You're all psychos.
If I kick it from way over there, is that 3?
Do you have anything?
Oh yeah.
Over this week.
So I watched a couple episodes of The Tudors because Fanny is tearing through that. I did not realize,
Henry
though
Cavill's
it's
so young
easy
in
to
there.
find in the cast information because he's a huge role in it. But yeah, Henry Cavill is so young. Like,
so young in that.
Like college age Cavill is weird. Watch more Psych. Watched a couple of episodes of the Saturday Night Live documentary episodes that are coming out on Peacock.
Okay.
There's one called The Weird Year that's all about Lorne Michaels left around season 5 and came back around season 10.
And that's the Lovitz.
And they were about to cancel it, and they basically brought back Michaels and were like, all right, so retool the show or it's dead. And they fired everybody, and which was people you've heard of, like a great cast, Martin Short type people. And then they brought on a bunch of new people, most of whom are long gone after this year. It's John Lovitz's first year. Damon Wayans is on that year. He gets himself fired like 4 episodes in. Anthony Michael Hall and Robert Downey Jr.
Really?
Are in that year.
Okay.
It is a weird group of people, and basically only Lovitz really hit.
It's like regular cast members?
Yeah.
Fuck. I did not know that.
For 1 year. And they do some cool shit, like some sketches that are now.
Well, I can only assume like that it's the weird year, and I'm like, oh, why do I not see classic sketches that Robert Downey Jr. starred in?
Right. But on the other hand, it is still Al Franken and his writing partner Tom Davis in charge of the show, and Lorne's back as well, and like several Lovitz characters, the acting like that starts that season. Like there's a lot of like catchphrase Lovitz stuff that immediately clicks, and of course that makes resentment. It was a good documentary episode just because, man, it's a fucked up season. And they ended that season like the way it aired. They have a guest host on the last episode get mad at the cast and lock them all in the writer's room and pour gasoline and light it on fire. And Lauren walks up and like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Fuck this whole place," and blah, blah, blah. And Lauren like, it's burning. And Lauren's like, "Okay." And he's like, "The cast is in there. I gotta. He pulls the door, runs in, grabs Lovitz, and leaves. And then comes back with the writers, unlocks the door again, tells them that there's snacks, relocks the door, and it rolls up Who Will Live, Who Will Die, find out next season on Saturday Night Live, and then runs the cast list with question marks after all their names. It's fucking cold-blooded.
Wow.
And then the season 12 opener, Madonna reads a statement from NBC that says it was all a horrible, horrible dream. Like, the NBC has asked me to read a statement concerning the entirety of season 11. It was all a dream. Horrible, horrible dream. And then they move on. It's fucking brutal, dude.
Like it's a fucking no. It's not a sentient continuity of like a different parallel. Saturday Night Live isn't set in a different parallel world. Like
it's a gas leak here. Also watched the one on how they made the cowbell sketch, which is hilarious. Basically, everybody talks about everybody goes back and talks about building the sketch, and you can talk about like arguing. It was originally the woodblock sketch. It just doesn't work as well.
Oh,
so
dumb.
And they pitched it a bunch of times, and then when Walken came on the show, they rewrote it for Walken, just before he even came on, and were like, and Dana Carvey's the one that's like, I am certain that the argument went, what words are funnier when Christopher Walken said, and he's like,
woodblock.
It's like, say woodblock is Christopher Walken, now say cowbell. He's like, yeah, there's a reason.
I got
it's
a
cowbell.
fever. And the only prescription
is cow. Walken does not help with the documentary. He fucking hates the cowbell sketch.
Oh, does he?
Apparently, people he'll do stage he'll do stage productions of theater and stuff, and people bring cowbells.
Oh, yikes!
Like it won't die.
Oh,
and so yeah, he's
sensitive about it.
He's tired of it. He's classy, but he's tired of it.
Yeah.
Also watched Back in Action with Cameron Diaz and Jamie Foxx over on Netflix. That, I was telling you,
cute enough.
It's like, it is really cute. They have great chemistry. Jamie Foxx is hilarious. The kids that they drag along with them, all of it works great. And you very rarely notice that it might make less sense than any spy thing I have ever seen.
Right.
Like, they steal a MacGuffin that makes no sense the entire time, and then it's still somehow viable 15 years later, but no one's hunted them down for it. You can't stop it anytime Lisa and I brought up anything, the other one of us would stop and like, wait, no, stop pulling at that. Fuck. Like I'm trying to enjoy this. But also, goddamn, the fight scenes are fun and hilarious. And like throughout the entire movie, there's like basically fight scene after fight scene where the kids are just staring at their parents like,
whoa,
what is happening? Like dad was
Mom,
filling
did
up.
you kill a guy?
Dad was filling up the car, lights the gas thing on fire, and just hoses people in fire while the kids are like, like, Mom takes a dive. Like, Mom, you killed that guy. I did not. He is hurt. He is very hurt.
Yeah.
But he was breathing when I left.
Yeah.
I don't think he was, Mom. No, I know what I'm doing. Like, that doesn't help. They also rope in her mom, who's Glenn Close, and that's hilarious.
No, that's great.
Yeah. She's this old MI6 like legend that lives on like an estate that's like when they realize where they've gone, like there's a moment where the MI6 like, no, what is on that patch of land, and why don't we have satellites of it? And they're like, fuck. Like,
yeah. So maybe I'll give that a shot. Like hopefully it won't be as like Argyle. Like,
no,
Argyle pissed me off.
No, it's a blast, but also I just at the end of it, like I want to have a discussion where your head explodes, just because, man, it just
like it just cannot cannot track.
It just can't logic out like what is happening. But I did enjoy it, and then basically all my shows are back. So I watched a new episode of Ghosts, which is cute. They have one of the ghosts is one of the investors, and they had agreed to give one of the ghosts money, which again, this is all a moot
So
point.
fucking stupid.
But
Jay
now-
is the
And he's so long suffering in this,
damn it.
like, because Isaac won't pick tiles. It's gotten to a point now where the contractor, like, their other partner's going to quit because they can't make any decisions. Like, Isaac won't approve anything.
Oh, and the contractor doesn't know there's actually 3 people.
And he's like, well, if I don't meet this partner, it's like, well, our silent partner is very. He's like, dude, no, seriously, is it Howard Hughes? Because like, if I don't meet this dude, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, this is fucking up decisions. And so they decide that they should go hire someone to pretend. I mean, he's never met,
Sure.
right? So there was an episode like a season or 2 ago where a con woman came in to try to steal their house
So they
from
grab-
them. They get her.
All right.
They're like, well, and she owes us for not, turning her in. So, and she's but like watching her take this over, like she should just be playing this role and moving on.
Yeah.
But then she figures out that their contractor actually has quite a bit of money because the amount of work he's done for them. And so she's like, well, I'm not going to leave now because I want to take that guy.
Yeah.
But her constant like, hey, I know what I'm doing. Trust me, I'm a con woman. And like, that's not as reassuring as you think it
No.
is.
Have confidence in me, said the confidence woman.
It's yeah, I love Ghost. Elspeth is back. Also watched High Potential. Both of them remain cute and fun. I think they've. If you thought they were cute at the start, I feel like they found a groove that's even more in line with themselves. But if you didn't find them cute at the start, I don't know that they've gotten that much better. And then Lisa had never seen any John Waters movies other than we watched Serial Mom the other day.
Oh, okay.
So we watched Hairspray with Ricky Lake.
It's fun.
And Sonny Bono and Divine. And yeah, Hairspray's a trip, dude. The first of his movies to go for any kind of like wider audience. It is absolutely the gayest movie to technically not be gay.
Right. Yeah.
Like, it's not about gay issues. No characters are gay, but also so gay.
Yeah.
It's a blast. I think Hairspray is just subversive and cute and fucking weird in all the right ways. That's about it for me.
I wanted to end Diaries, not get out of here before I mentioned, though, I did start the 2nd season of The Recruit.
Oh, nice. I have not started that yet.
Which starts like on a crazy, like, all it really, like, there's a new thing, new gray mailer, totally separate from his last thing. But I do like that the first episode is basically just, yo, so there's like a bunch of fallout from that other shit that happened. And like, so most of it, the CIA, like, while he's doing this new thing, most of the CIA is basically, we're running around to all the different characters that are making sure that that fucking disaster from last season does not fall on them personally.
Right.
And that's like 10 different characters that are trying to make.
Yeah.
So they're doing an internal investigation. I love that they're like, cool. So here it is, kid. You're benched until until the investigation clears you, and because no one wants this on their doorstep, no one has incentive to clear you. So like it might be years until you do things, but also you can't leave. I mean, they don't say that, but no, he doesn't ask either.
Right.
Like, because he doesn't, like, he tells his roommate, like, no, if you don't quit working for the CIA this minute, I'm moving out. And he goes, I don't know if I can. And I really feel like, no, but if I leave now, they're definitely going to hang all this on me.
Right. Right.
And I might, like,
if I get off the bus, I'm definitely going under.
And I might go to jail. Like, I might not be able to leave. Like, he doesn't want to leave, so he doesn't ask. But I'm curious as if he asked, what would happen.
Right.
Because they make sure he can't do work, but he does come into the office. They take everything out of his office. He doesn't have a piece of paper in his office.
He's just in there.
Like he can't. I'm like, man, I don't think they even let him. He doesn't have a book ever. Like, he just starts drawing on the walls. Like,
okay, that's great.
Like, the mail room doesn't like oh, I got this mail thing. No, the mail room doesn't come to you. I made sure of that specifically. Yeah, it was for the guy that owned that was in the office before me. And that's how he gets this thing, which is his into like a new op to try and get him out of this hole.
Because once you've had eyes on something, now you're like the guy slipping in that folder under his arm.
So like using that to your advantage of like,
yeah.
okay, now I have eyes on this, and like, okay, here's a thing. He goes to his tech guy to like, hey, run this number for me. Like, it's a coordinates or whatever. Like, okay, well, this is a QR code for a country that doesn't exist, so why bother? This place is fake. and like, okay, just do it for me just in case. And so he puts the numbers in and just red flags go off in the CIA and he gets tackled by 3 dudes. Like, whoa, what the fuck?
That's great.
Okay, so this was bad and you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I can't wait. I forgot that was coming out.
Also, they bring in what's his face from the first season, the long suffer anxiety attack having guy the entire time that takes an ambient sandwich.
Yes.
He is now his sidekick.
Awesome.
Like, he is now the senior lawyer there because they don't trust him to go alone.
Okay.
So he's in Korea every step of the way trying to get shit done along with everybody else. It's definitely fun. I have not watched a whole lot of it yet, but I'm definitely going to keep up with it. I didn't realize I missed it until I came back. But yeah, should we hit up the actual main course for this week?
Before we do that, since this is a Patreon showrunner request, I think it's a good good time to talk about our Patreon, patreon.com/tvdudes. You can join us over there and throw in $1 an episode. You'll get some bonus content, or you just join for free and see what we drop over there. Decide if you want to jump in. This week, we're going back to the theatre and talking about Companion.
Oh, yeah.
From the insane minds behind Barbarian, I understand.
Yeah, we're talking about Jack Quaid and his sex bot.
Yeah, according to the new trailer, it does appear to...
Yeah.
That's my favorite line from that.
Jailbreak your sex bot?
Like, people were like, it's spoiled stuff. I'm like, I'm sorry, but you need to show people something.
Man, that's a fucking seller line, man. Like,
that's great. And I've also heard that, like, while yes, that does mean that you know some of the first act.
Yeah.
That this fun of this movie is that it gets crazy, apparently. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I mean, you can't, like, Barbarian was cool, but like, hey, don't structure every fucking movie of yours like that.
Right.
It's not
That's
gonna
insane.
fucking hold
That's
up.
insane. Yeah.
You're gonna M. Night Shyamalan yourself.
So head over to patreon.com/tvdudes and check out our review. We'll be on the other side of having seen it by then.
And if you donate at the showrunner level, you could, like, that's $20, and you could pick your own show for us to watch.
Yep.
And we will watch
episodes.
4 episodes, and let's be honest, likely more.
Likely more.
But 4 episodes at least of whatever show you pick. Just like our multi-showrunner now, JPV, John Paul Vitale, picked this week. What is it this week, Les?
The Way Home.
It's gonna work this time.
If you don't come back up, I'll know.
Who are you anyway? I just haven't seen you around. Alice.
Welcome, Alice. You're damp.
I just got caught in a sun shower. You guys used to love each other.
What happened?
Time travel only works for you.
Why me?
I wish I knew.
So The Way Home is a fantasy drama television series created by Heather Conkie, Alexandra Clark, and Marley Reed.
Conkie?
Yep, Conkie. Conkie. I gotta be saying that right. It premiered January 15th, 2023. The series is a time travel drama about the lives of 3 generations of strong, willful, independent Landry family women who embark on a journey to find their way back to each other while learning important lessons. More than 20 years prior, life-changing events prompted Kat Landry to move away from her small Canadian farm town of Port Haven. With Kat's marriage coming to an end and having just been laid off from her job, she decides to move her and her daughter back home after receiving an unexpected letter from her estranged mother, Annie McDowell. As the 3 generations of women slowly work on finding their footing as a family, a pond on the property sometimes takes some of them to the past for some amounts of time, which also kind of wrecks the lives of all secondary characters. I might have editorialized on the description there.
Well, I mean, the on the IMDb, I love it. It actually says, and this is so Hallmark, like, the story of 3 generations of strong, independent women.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Like,
I cribbed that straight off the wiki. And, yeah.
And like, I'm like, if you had to put that in the fucking summary, like, it's
3 generations went, well, which kind?
White, very white.
Are they weak?
Like,
Are they weak, terrible characters?
God damn it. So this show, like, I didn't know anything about it before.
All I knew was
JBD
Hallmark
said
and time travel.
Yeah. And the time travel is very much just a mystical element that is, like, there's not a lot of science behind it. It is a...
And I kind of assumed it would be such, and honestly, I thought that was going to be a knock on it for me. That like, well, okay, this is going to be when I say it's got a sci-fi element or a magical element, it's going to be from a from a Hallmark Channel thing, not from like a Shudder or Sci-Fi or something like that. You know, this is gonna have like some go back and learn about the past but not do anything kind of time travel, and that's exactly what it is. Only it ends up for me being a huge plus. I cracked up over and over that they, no matter like the lesson of season 1, we watched 3 episodes out of season 1. We both ended up watching all of season 1. Basically,
I did not watch all of season 1. You watched a lot more of this than me. I did watch more than we needed. I watched Ep 1, Ep 2 because I was like actually interested, and then I jumped around to
4 and 5. Then
4 and 5, and then I watched the finale of season 1.
No, you watched the penultimate of the finale, I thought, as well.
Did I? Man, now I can't remember.
I think you.
I watched the.
I think you watched all but like 3, maybe.
Because no, man, because then I watched season 2, episode 8, and then I think I watched the finale of that.
Yes, yeah.
So I actually wanted at least 6 episodes out of the 4, if not more. But
I watched.
I watched
10. I've watched 11 episodes.
I got a little help from the previously ons of going through each fucking thumbnail or whatever, but to get some context. Because jumping into season 2 that far was really hard.
So they go out on their land. They all arrive at this farm in Port Haven at the start of the show, and we both enjoyed or laughed at the fact that, like, do time travel shows just not need to show anything about the time travel ever? Like, can you just literally like fall through a hole and that's all we need? Because we both cracked up that like there's no. Yeah. They jump in the pond, they come up in the different time. Boom.
Yeah, I mean, fucking even the where it's supposed to be like mundane or whatever, like what was it, Palm Springs or whatever?
Right,
like,
right.
Where that's still a glowy cave or whatever. Like, no, they just fall in a goddamn pond and pop up in a goddamn the same pond but different time.
Right, right. And so all through the first season, the main theme of the show seemed to be, to me, and they kind of rule of 3 it, that you can go back to the past for context, closure, but you really shouldn't even do that. You should just process shit in the modern, like in the present time, because you're missing your present life.
It's my least favorite form of time travel, which is a lot of time travel, but it's the circular Ouroboros, eat your own tail. Like, no matter what you do back in the past, you already did it.
It always did it. You cannot change anything. All you can do is keep picking at it. And maybe that gains you context that helps you get closure.
But sometimes it gains you context that makes it worse.
That makes it so much worse. And so really, like, God, by the end of season 1, like, Elliot, the best friend character, is basically just yelling at Kat from Supergirl.
Well, they go back.
Like, hey, just
how many
stop.
years the first time? Are they going back into the 90s?
Yeah, they're going back into the 90s in the first one.
Yeah, in the first one. And it's all about her.
They end up at a Y2K party.
Connecting with her parents and how they got together. And, like, it's a...
Well, it's using time travel to understand where... Like, you're mad at your parents because of their divorce, and you don't understand how they could have changed or whatever, and meeting them younger gives you some context, and now you're a little more understanding of, like, oh, okay, great. Because you've been judging them as your parents, and now you're their friend. So, and that's cool. I really like how that all works. And then when they start about middle of the season, they start picking the mom, who's also time traveling back. I love the period of time when they don't realize they're both back there at the same time. But the mom decides that she can save the little brother. They wouldn't need to
time travel at all if this family communicated in any fucking way.
No. And I think the pond knows it, of like, okay, look, you guys should just work this out, but fine.
Fine, obviously they need some freaking mystical
Because
help
the reason
here.
the whole family's estranged and won't talk is that her little brother just went missing and was never found. And then just like a few months later, the dad dies.
Yeah.
In a car accident.
Yeah.
So like between the two... the
and her
mom
mom's
and
best friend disappeared also, but I guess that wasn't worth mentioning.
Right.
My best friend Alice, who you were obviously named after.
Right. Also just vanished. Yeah. So playing with the time travel cleverly, the show has some moments that I think the Hallmarkness papers over. Like if the show took itself any more seriously, these things would glare. That like you are more than even most shows. Like season 2. How does a season 2 even work without retconning that, like, oh yes, this other incredibly important event in our life that we never mentioned last season.
Yeah, yeah. Man, you start to run into that of like, oh yeah, I didn't want to mention, like, bitch, like.
That said, I enjoy it every single time one of them jumps back in the pond while Elliot's going, hey, don't, hey, don't.
So Alice is the main girl that's going, basically is the kid that's going back and learning about her mom and all that. And Alice is a dummy. It's dumb. It's always does the dumb thing. It is a dumb. And not dumb.
And her best friend Elliot, from who's had a crush on her since they were children, and still does.
Oh, the mom's best friend.
The mom's
Elliot.
best friend. Yeah, the mom's best friend Elliot.
It's like, and so Alice goes to him, future him, for help, but also past him.
Right.
Because they're like, oh yeah, you fucking talk to me about this all the time. So future him knows all the conversations they have, and
and what's hilarious is they slowly realize, future him knows several more conversations you haven't had with him yet.
Yeah,
technically, he's had them, but you haven't done them yet. And like the little things like that start to add up, where like people get straight up mad at Elliot for having known things and had to hold them back, where he's like, well, what would you expect me to do with that?
Yeah.
But then also slowly realizing that Elliot's life is ruined by this immediately.
Yeah.
Because
the minute she told him about the future, she fucked him.
You're my science teacher. You told me this would work. And like, okay, well, that's wow. So you and your mom just moved back to Port Haven in the future. Who's your dad? Like, well, not you, weirdo. Like,
okay,
cool. Well, I definitely don't end up with the girl that I have a crush on, and I definitely don't make it out of this town. I'm the science teacher here.
No, and he knows he's doing.
And when we meet him in the future, he's already been divorced, and like, how'd that relationship go?
I mean, how could it have gone?
Because like
any other way?
we were discussing, like, there's a point in college where Elliot's like, fuck it, I'm getting out of this. My life is not predestined. That girl was crazy.
Man, the pond does not care what your wants and desires are.
So
the pond wants
in the first couple of episodes, because I watched episode 1, and like it ends right at the like, we can time travel. This is happening.
Holy shit!
And so I was like, well, I gotta watch up 2 to see if we lay out more rules or anything. And I love Elliot's explanation is no. The pond has what I think are rules, but I have no explanations.
Yeah.
And because he's got like a student binder that he's like a composition book he's been keeping notes in the whole time. And it's his best guesses based on observation of how the pond works. And I love that every time something new happens where he's like, seriously? Shit. Okay. Because at first he tells her like time runs in parallel, basically, from what we can tell. When you jump back, you can't stay gone like 2 days. You'll be gone 2 days here, and people will flip out in the present. We'll have a fucking cop searching for you.
Which sucks because Alice loves it in the past.
Right. Oh man. But like the second time she jumps back, her assumption then is that if I wait till tomorrow and jump back, it'll be tomorrow in the past, like one day. Like that, it's all running in parallel.
Yeah.
No. The pond takes you where it feels you need to go. Whatever's running the pond, which appears to be, if it's God, it's the same God that gives children leukemia.
Yeah.
Like,
mysterious ways. Bullshit.
It is some mysterious ways shit, man. Because it lands them in the worst spots.
Well, and so like it why I say Alice is so dumb is because there's a point where there's certain elements that I like about it, but are played because Alice doesn't really think anything through. It annoys me more. The fact that she
falls for a boy in the past.
So that annoys me, but also just her relationship with her mom in the past is like, oh, we're best friends. And she starts to refer, when talking to her mom later, she starts to refer to Kat as a separate person.
Yes.
And I'm like, she's not. That's her.
And it sucks because it means that this entire experience, you're not getting it.
Which makes me think she hasn't learned anything.
Because the lesson of this is that your mom then, that you're sympathetic and have miles of patience and forgiveness and empathy in your heart for, and you have zero for your mom now.
Yeah.
They are the same woman.
And to be fair, we skipped around, so maybe there's episodes.
That's true.
There's episodes maybe where they really dig in and deal with that.
I think Hallmark nearly canceled this, and fans fucking rioted.
Really?
Which is how it's on season 3, and they start going back to the 70s. So I get the feeling they must rope Andy McDowell into this.
Holy shit! Did you see the finale for the season 2?
No.
Okay.
No.
Man.
Did I? No.
Okay. Well, we'll get to there at the end because I don't want to fucking put a spoiler on it because it's insane. But the finale for season 1 is, after like the whole thing again, and because they're dummy dum-dums, they can't figure out very obvious things as soon as time travel. As soon as time travel gets involved, and like like she said, she starts dating a boy in the past, and she comes back and is like, so, oh man, where is he in the future? And
Elliot's like, why would you even
ask me that? Don't ask me that. Like, oh, is he married? Like, okay, so he's single. Like, what? No, it was weird when you did it in the past. Now it is illegal.
Right.
Like she goes, age isn't anything but a number. So I'm like, she really thinks she's gonna continue this relationship with this dude as a fucking 40-year-old.
No, man, you get Nicholas arrested? The fuck, man?
And I get that. I'm like, okay, this is how Hallmark writes a teenager, and I get that they're gonna be dumb. There's no when you get to that level of TV production, like Lifetime and all that, there's no such thing as a smart young person.
No. She's got to,
The Lifetime and Hallmark, they cater to an older audience anyway, and they love showing older, wiser people.
Well, that's why, I mean, she's stuck in her ways about it and definitely has room to grow as a character. But Andie MacDowell's Dell is almost a Skylar level of right but unsympathetic in season 1.
Yeah.
I kept thinking, like, the Skylar comparison kept coming up for me because I was mad at her in scenes, but also she's like, I think she's coming at the right conclusion the wrong way. Because like she frequently yells at the other characters to like quit giving me context to the past. I've actually already buried it and I'm living on it. It's fine. It's settled.
Because she thinks there was another woman at the dad's funeral.
Right.
She thinks she was having an affair.
Well, and
or he was
also
having an affair.
they had no money left when he died. Like the bank accounts had been emptied out, and she was like, he was spending it on this whore. And so first the mom manages to go back to the past and find out enough stuff to come to the present and like frequency style find a anyway.
And she'll like,
she figures out that the dad wasn't paying prostitutes or wasn't spending money on another woman. Here.
Yeah.
And the mom tells her, no, it's not just the money. I saw the bitch.
Yeah.
And of course, we're all watching it, having seen a time travel show before, going, it's you. It's going to be you, you dummy.
And you'd think like, okay, so now that you know you could visit your dad's funeral, are you saying you're not going to go there? So put the fucking pieces together. You're the fucking woman.
Right.
God damn it.
Put the pieces together and realize that you can then just don't go to your dad's funeral. I mean, you are at your dad's funeral, so just don't go twice. And man, the best friend that's been keeping notes the whole time, I mean, he tells her you can't do it when she decides she wants to save her little brother. But then when she decides she wants to save her dad, his reaction of like, "Are we doing this again?" Was of like, I think he's fucking done. The funniest thing in the show to me is that they keep breaking characters.
Nick, that beautiful dummy.
Oh my God. Every time they let someone in, it's usually in a way that like for at least an episode renders them like in a seizure.
I'll help you out with those Renos, bro.
Dude,
like,
it takes Nick a minute to come back around, but he's still calling it Renos.
He finds the clue to the past, like that book or whatever, and because he's Nick, like he fucking throws like,
bro, are you hiding time travel secrets from me, bro?
Yeah, weird keepsake to have. All right, whatever. And he just cuts to commercial, and I'm like, man, you can keep a secret from Nick like forever.
Dude, so good. Yeah,
because Nick, from his perspective, it's his first love was Alice.
Right.
So when she shows back up, like fucking 40 years later, and like, whoa,
his entire like that. I'm not
Cat's
saying
your
that.
mom. Are you sure you look exactly
right.
like this old flame of mine?
One of the explanations in this show for why the time travel, like, well, why doesn't mom recognize that I'm the same Alice? And Elliot's like, well, in your brain, that's impossible, so you don't jump to that.
Right.
And that actually covers a lot of ground for me on time travel. Of like, no, it's just fucking impossible. Also, people aren't as good at recognizing faces as you think.
Yeah.
And then also, memory just kind of sucks. Like, if you had to, like, gun to your head, draw a picture of your best friend from grade school right now, could you nail it? Probably not.
No. You'd remember a few really distinctive aspects.
Like the impression of them, but, you know. So that all worked for me.
When they
I love it that Nick's reaction is the opposite. Like, no, that was my first love. She looks dead like her. It's fucking creepy.
Yeah.
But
And
that actor's reaction through the entire, it's like 2 or 3 scenes of him slowly reacting to Elliot of like more and more like, do you think it would be weird if I told her that she looks so much like, and like, yeah, that would be weird, dude. And then later
Yeah.
when he really puts it together of like,
they have that scene where he's sitting like couch space between
Right.
them, like all of like, well, okay. And what I realized during
he
that
keeps
scene,
like every once in a while he just jumps up and like,
like what I realized during that scene, I'm like, whoa, how did they flip this so that in this relationship between this 40-year-old and the 16-year-old, the consent issue is on the 16-year-old's
Right.
fucking side of it,
Right.
Because he didn't consent to having a fucking weird relationship
Right.
with now in his time, like
so of the two of them, the lack of a consent issue when they got together when they were both teenagers was a technicality that she was fully aware of.
yeah,
But he
He
was
is
fully
not.
unaware of. And
Yeah.
so, like, yeah, at no point was he given the ability to make
No,
a consent choice there.
no, fucking justice for Nick and justice for Elliot, because Elliot gets fucked every which way, every
Dude, well,
episode.
hey, he's been on the hook for Kat for so long with her in the first episode where she settles in and puts her head on his shoulder and is like, oh, is this okay? You just settle back in, and you can just see a piece of his soul die. Of like, yeah, we do settle back in. God, I hate my life. And like everybody in town is like,
Well, I like that she goes back and finds out her dad's such a dick.
oh yeah,
Like, and that people can change and they're multifaceted. I like that the dad, like, no, he's a good dad. Like, he,
yeah.
honestly,
That actually is the best characterization on the entire show. The dad's not nearly my favorite character or my favorite thing on the show, but in terms of showing me a complex person that
Yeah.
I actually believe changed, they show a teenage douchebag that I also fully believe becomes her dad,
yeah,
who's still kind of a douchebag,
yeah,
but really does love his daughter and really does love Kat, just can't be married. They just can't be married.
yeah. Like, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
The
That honestly, that blew me away. It was infuriating, but it surprised me on the show
man, Elliot.
how much I liked the them kissing in the park. Like Kat and her ex-husband, soon to be ex-husband, have a kiss moment that wrecks Elliot again. Because man, the show, if there's nothing going on in the scene and the show can turn around and punch Elliot, it will. But I like that they make out and like that's what he sees, and so he thinks, well, they've gotten back together. But they get done kissing and do one of the best separated adults on a show thing I've ever seen, which is go, okay, so we shouldn't do that anymore because like that
Yeah.
works, but we don't work, and we
Yeah.
know that.
yeah.
And they both acknowledge
No,
it, like,
the-
oh no, that was hot.
The emotional side of this always was not the problem. It's the logic, like
Yeah.
the maintenance. Like, we can't actually live fucking together.
Yeah, because like, and she said like, no, you have a new girlfriend at home, in your house, and I'm I'm moving on with my life. Like, we can't do this. Like, yep, you're right, Matt. Sorry, no.
So the Elliot is gonna leave by the end of like the first season, and they convince him to stay. And I thought that was cruel. and unusual.
He comes back on it. Did you watch the first
did he
one
come
of
back
season
on his
2? He
own?
comes back on
Okay.
his own.
Okay, I didn't
He's
watch the
gone,
first one of season
Yeah,
2.
he's gone for like 7 months and then shows back up.
Okay, cool,
He leaves without even saying goodbye to Kat.
cool.
And so when he comes back at the end of 7 months, it pisses her off, and
Oh, really?
it all goes away by the end of the
Yeah,
first episode.
'cause,
But
like-
but the way that he knows that, like, oh damn, that didn't go over well, is that he knew if he went and saw her, he'd stay, is the way he puts it. So
Yeah.
he just had to fucking book. He'd already told her he was going to leave. He just leaves,
Mm-hmm.
but he leaves a note for her, like Kat, on
Yeah.
a folded piece of paper taped to his front door.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't risk going to her house or anything. Taped it to his front door, so that when she came
Yeah.
over looking for him, and when he comes back by, it's still taped there.
What? She never.
It's like she
went
came over.
there?
No, it's like she came over and looked at it and was like, "No, fuck you. I'm not reading a letter that you like."
Wow, cat sucks.
And-
Wait, no, wait. So a lot of this show gets by on like well, I never sent that letter. I threw it away or whatever, and like, oh, actually that was a time travel thing. I sent that for you.
Yeah,
or
'cause,
that letter got that message
Alice
got
sends that letter.
like
yeah.
a lot of this show gets by on letters and pieces of paper getting lost behind a thing, and then later in the future finding them.
Right.
Like,
That's what tore that page out.
so her like seeing it on the door and actively like, okay, so this is why your family is fucked up, because you actively choose not to communicate.
Right. You guys
So,
just,
like-
because I mean, even in season 1, there's stuff that could be solved or settled by just saying that, hey, we have a pawn that can go back in time.
The fact that she didn't read it
if
means
they were
he was
discussing
right.
it, they'd realize the dog.
Yes. The dog is also, I don't know where that dog's original timeline is.
No, I love.
It's very
I kind
interesting.
of love that. I'm not sure whose dog that is.
That's Schrodinger's dog right there.
Though, spoilers for The Way Home if you're not it's spoiled at this point.
Mm-hmm.
When Jacob chases the dog and that's how he ends up in the pond and Lost.
Yeah.
He calls it puppy. He doesn't know its name. He calls it dog and puppy and dog again or something like. But
Okay.
he doesn't know that dog.
Okay.
And that's why I was like, that's the dog. That is a dog from the 2024.
I think.
That's the dog. That's
2024 dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
this
okay.
kid here's
So
a
wait,
strange dog with a baseball in its mouth.
So either the pond is letting a dog show up back into the pond so that it can grab this child, or the dog has unfinished business that it also needs to sort out in the past.
I think it's the dog. My head no, it's not. But no, I think it would be wonderful
Is there
headcanon.
a story where we're watching like a Homeward Bound?
If this is an
thing with a
incredible
dog?
time journey. Yeah, this is
Holy
is
shit.
Fry's dog, but with a pond.
But yeah, Jacob ends up back in fucking the 1800s.
Well, and was that so was the pond giving those people a child?
Yeah. And
Like did it decide Dell had an heir and a spare and
Yeah.
and you could just
and like that didn't fuck up his entire life, and like, okay, what did this 5-year-old have to learn from that?
how to bury his Converse.
Like, what the fuck? Like, and he spends most of his life in fucking 1800s.
yeah, in the 1800s.
And so in the finale, you didn't watch the finale?
No.
This bitch pops back out of the fucking lake and it shows up in 2024 and like, oh yeah, my family encouraged me to come here. This is where I belong. And it ends on them walking to the house
With Jacob?
and Jacob going in and like, and the mom is going to be in there. And so I had to watch at least a little bit of season 3, episode 1. Cause you're like, what?
I'm watching all of this show, bro.
What is, because
We'll watch all of this show.
full in 18th century regalia. That's only like, again, only his hair is damp because we
gave that up after season 1.
Like,
Yeah, we're not
man,
soaking them all.
costuming-
Costuming had to hate season 1.
costuming, makeup, and hair hated that conceit. Like you fuck us on that every time.
Every time.
But it's an insane place to leave it. And get this, Les. They show, you know that thing where they show they show Elliot actually he time travels because he in the future can go back into the past.
Okay.
That's how the pond works. You can't go forward. You can return to your original timeline.
But
You
it
can go-
only
you can go to the
only
past,
takes you to new
You
timelines
can go
that
to
are in
take
the
your
past.
past,
Yeah.
but you can return to your timeline. That's how Jacob can get home. He can return to his original timeline, which is just unfortunately how.
Yeah, you're not changing the past or bringing back somebody from
Yeah.
the dead. He's lost in time.
So Elliot goes back to talk with the dad, and like because it was like very emotional for him, like buried his dad too. He didn't have a very good dad.
Yeah.
And so like it was emotional. He gets closure. He's the only one the pond works for because he only does it once. And it's like because Alice goes like, okay, and he's like, why would I do that? It's only caused you and your mom's grief. Like, and like, yeah, but that first time was really cool. And he's like, oh, okay. And he goes back and he says goodbye, and it really hit. And he watches them at the bonfire at the very end, and like and goes away and doesn't warn them that Jacob's about to fucking go missing like that night.
Because you can't
Because you can't fucking do it. I'm like, good for you. Not only does it end with Jacob going into the house and not showing the mom's reaction, it ends with on that Elliot looking back on the fireplace. He leaves, and then somebody else is looking at the fireplace. It's the fucking dad. The dad is looking at himself in the fireplace, and then it shows him in like the 1800s or whatever. Like
His family's fucked.
he is from the past somehow.
Okay, I'm watching all of this show. This is a Hallmark train wreck, and I love it.
And someone that's his mom or whatever, Colton, this pond will always, you have to be patient, but this pond will always take where you need to go. And
No, man, this is like the trees and From. I don't
What?
know, man.
so he gets this weird smile on his face, and it's a weird CG like green screen shot because he can't be in two places at once. It's very cheap. It's weird looking, so it looks evil when he does it, and I don't think it's supposed to. It's genuinely like, wait a minute,
Well, I mean,
Wait a
this
minute.
is the same show that gave me the scene of her pulling her kid out of the road and getting her dad killed, which I thought my heart was good. I laughed.
I laughed so hard. I laughed really hard.
That is one of the
So that's the only thing
most joyous moments I've had watching
that's the
television
roughest
in a while.
thing about the show is the hallmark of this like this the drama is so high sometimes it's unintentionally funny, and the sound design, sound mixing, and soundtrack, they need to calm down.
It is heavy.
Like Jesus, you gotta ease that off. 50%.
It's not rock music rookie style, but it's just schmaltz. It gets a little thick.
Yeah. Although I do like okay, it's the 2000 now. What will we be playing on the radio? Paramore at fucking full volume.
Full volume.
Okay. But I'm not even done less. So a chick shows up to show them like a wrap up another plot device. Like they're not going to sell the land. It's the mom's plot device for that season.
Right.
No one cares.
Yeah.
But a woman comes up to show like, oh hey, I'm part of the family that's gonna here is all the lawyer stuff, so that sale won't go through. You can keep the farm or whatever. And Alice notes a ring on her neck or on her necklace. I'm wondering if this was a character in season 2, and I just didn't see because we skipped around. And notices that it's her ring, and she has one.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same ring, but she has it. It's not like she's missing it. And I'm like, fuck, that's one of you guys from the future, or one of the Landry women that you don't. So there's a possible element in the next season, at least how I read
Of
it,
like
was that
new Landry's popping up in the current show timeline from a future we haven't seen.
there's a future, whatever the other Alice that's trying to get closure with you.
Oh my! Because seriously, at what point does Alice's daughter show up?
This is a never-ending cascading.
No, because you ladies will not stop fucking with this pond. No, it's got Tuck Everlasting problems. Like I really enjoyed this show.
You've got to watch that. You've got to watch the last 5 minutes.
I'm definitely watching all of this.
It's insane.
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. There's a time travel movie. I think it's just called About Time, where the dad has time travel powers and it passes on in the sun. Like
one with Bill Nighy
and you find out like it's very different than this, but it's the same kind of low stakes. Like the only good use of time travel is to enjoy one extra moment.
Yeah.
Really, but you can't do anything or change anything because like Nighy, you find out spins it. He uses his power to redo every day. He does every day twice, and he does it the first time because you got to do things, and then he does
the second
it
time to just enjoy it,
autopilot, just to dig it.
Yeah.
And that always stuck with me from time travel stuff, and that's like Elliot trying to explain to them that like the best that this can do for you is like you can't save your little brother, but you got an extra 15-minute walk home. That's 15 more minutes you did not have with him. Mm-hmm. That's a gift, and she's like, that was horrible. Like. Great, then quit diving in the pond.
Cool, yeah. If you can't appreciate what it's like, because you can't get anything more out of it.
Like, well, I hate it. Great, then stop doing it.
Like, just don't.
Then just don't. She comes back. By the end of season 1, every time she walks back up wet, and Elliot's like, fuck.
Damn it.
Yeah, I assumed that this would at least be like a time traveling Baxter's. I wasn't sure how Hallmarky it would be. But I ended up so far I've really enjoyed it. The heightened drama makes it unintentionally hilarious, and for me that is a perk.
The intentional humor actually is grating for a minute. Like every time they intentionally try and be cute and funny.
No.
But the unintentional hilarity is like
off the charts sometimes.
This General Hospital soap opera level of like, what are you talking about? You
like
cannot.
It's a soap
cannot
opera.
Go find this 40-year-old to fuck him. Like
oh my god. They about break Nick's brain. It's great.
Oh man, I was just doing some Redos, and now all of a sudden, I got the like I was fucking Alice's or
like,
Kat's kid.
Time's a flat circle, bro. Yeah.
Or
so
maybe
John Paul, thanks so much for suggesting this show. I enjoyed it,
man,
and we made Nick watch a bunch of it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch more, but that's probably gonna wrap it up for this week. Tune in next week. We're gonna discuss Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, new animated series over on Disney Plus with a jammin' theme song and possibly annoying animation. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, you know how I feel about fucking
CG?
animation and 3D.
But until next time, this podcast will always take you where you need to go.
Oh, you guys are already out. Damn it.
It's too late. You can't change anything.